Pick's really strong, and does have the sort of very easy to land CC. You can follow up with the Ashe or the Seraphine, and that combo of the Pantheon Annie is just so obnoxious. So now trying to decide what they're going to pick here, and it looks like just going for the Ambessa, which, you know, I'm pretty sure that was what was played in the Keen's Rumble when he played Rumble most recently.
Saw a lot of chatting from Chovy while that was being picked. I don't know if you really get much value out of any kind of swap shenanigans when you already know what the top side of the map is for HLE.
Are they just going to go Yanara Lulu? It's obviously strong if you get out of the lane, but it's risky in the lane. And especially, oftentimes when you're playing into Ashe Seraphine, you can disrupt it by ganking, but Lulu doesn't have the best setup, and you're playing into a Pantheon. Looks like they're not fully committed to the Lulu. They will go the Yanara, but they're toying with the idea of maybe a... No, it might just be Lulu. It's not going to be a fun lane, but the team fight from HLE if they get out of lane is insane.
Yeah.
So...
Very different look for Delight as well. Just played his signature rel, and now he's on Lulu.
And Chovy going to pick up the Akali himself. So playing Akali...
Do exactly that. HLE up against Gen G, game number 2. Game number 2 between these two. The rematch of the last couple of LCK finals.
Chovy going Ignite as well. He wants to win lane. And we see Guma go on the cleanse. We don't always see this in the Ashe Seraphine, just because Barrier gives you a lot of trading power in the 2v2. But this is definitely kind of an acceptance that we are going to lose lane. But at least at level 6, you know, I have something that can actually help against those ultimates. And there's a lot of value of it in the 5v5s. Now we do see Canyon going for an early invade on the Pantheon. Getting some camps. He was spotted, obviously. And we'll see if Kanavi looks to cross over and match.
Meanwhile, we're zooming in on the mid lane. A couple of melee champions going head-to-head is pretty interesting. We don't see that very often nowadays. See, you know, some Akali, some Yone, but generally not against each other. And Chovy early on is definitely controlling the trading pace of this lane.
Yeah, doing well. Zeka trying to play around his grasp and not fully succeeding. Now we see bot lane already kind of setting the tone for how this is going to go. That is one advantage that Zeka has, is with the TP, can obviously just reset. Chovy doesn't have as much freedom now. It does look like Canyon is moving down, so Kanavi moving in to match and steal away some camps. They're going to go for a potential dive here.
Yeah, they just saw Kanavi on the top side of the map. They're looking for Guma here. The root comes in, he cleanses and flashes, but he still dies as Ruler picks up the kill, and that's first blood.
Yeah, really good flash there from Duro. He ends up being the one to take the aggro, and you can see Guma makes a beeline for him. It's like, I'm going to try and punish him, get him low, but unfortunately isn't successful. And look at the goal lead already between 80 carries. 750 at 2.5 minutes.
That is quite sizable.
And this is the danger of going the Yanara Lulu into Ashe Seraphine, especially with a Pantheon. Pantheon just has so much early pressure and the ability to set up these ganks. Now, we do see the end result is Kanavi has kind of started to outpace Canyon in terms of jungle camps, but it doesn't really matter that much because there's going to be that downtime a little bit when Kanavi's finished clearing his camps, and Canyon's going to be able to have some time to catch up, and just that bot play is so winning.
Chovy was talking a lot on the camera as well. It seems like he's not very happy with the way this lane is going. He does have Ignite, but no opening to go in onto Zeka, of course, as he's kind of bullied out. He's ahead on CS for now.
To replay off this, so they heal early, and then Guma cleanses the CC, flashes to try and focus down Duro, but there's just too much damage. Not a ton you can do. I think what really doesn't help is that they were level 2 and not level 3 at the time. That really could have been the difference maker, especially for a Lulu who gets access to the polymorph.
We haven't looked much at the top lane. Obviously, with the first pick, Rumble, this Rumble is slowly sneaking his way in to the LCK once again. It's 2-0. Looking for a third win if HLE can pick it up here. Keen's response of the Ambessa. Definitely, it's okay in the lane. We'll have to wait and see how it goes along with this composition. Obviously, very good with all the lockdown they have.
Yeah, I mean, I think I love when you have like a Seraphine and you have like these sort of bruiserish champions just diving in, because giving them the extra durability gets so much value. And also you have like an Ambassador to lead the charge so you can ult across them. Especially if Gen G start to get momentum in this game, it's going to be really hard for HLE to bring it back. Once again, the bot lane of HLE really struggling. The gold lead has extended from when we looked at it at 2.5 minutes. Now 900 gold between the two 80 carries. And Gumayusi's just sitting on a refillable. That's it.
Yeah.
In the inventory, so really not ideal.
Keen is not going to take the bait here. You know, if he ults in on the Zeus, certainly Keen could be in a lot of trouble with the Vi right there, even at level 5. Meanwhile, Canyon's just taken the Drake. I mean, he was able to take the whole bot side jungle, go for the dive, come back. Yes, he's behind on CS, but he's definitely getting a lot here for the team as they pick up the Mountain Drake.
Mountain Infernal as the first 2 dragons, not the best in terms of securing like a guaranteed good soul. You know, often like Ocean, Chemtech are the 2 dragons you want when you want to know you're going to have a pretty good soul. But even so, I think Gen G already in such a great spot with how the bot lane is going. Picking up those dragons got to feel good. Oh, flash from Chovy. Kanavi shows himself afterwards, so he immediately feels good about that decision.
Yeah. If he gets hit by that with a level 6 Vi right there, he probably just gets 100 to 0. Maybe he's able to do some kind of shenanigans with the backflip and the flash, but probably not.
That's one of those situations where if you don't flash it, you have to work so hard to get away, you might end up flashing anyway, even if you live, and then you're chunked out on top of that and you have to recall. Now he just stays around, commits to flash early, doesn't have to burn his ult defensively as well, and has that at least as an advantage over Zeka for now. So maybe if he sees an angle, if Zeka oversteps. Very hard to overstep on Yone though, given that you just kind of teleport back.
You just get to do whatever you want. And you can see, you know, we were talking a lot about how there wasn't much of a gold lead in any lane in the first game. This time, that's true for everything except AD carry, of course, which is over 1,000 the lead for Ruler. And he also has a call. So really just trying to double and triple down on getting ahead, getting very far ahead in the gold department specifically, and be a driving force of DPS later on because, you know, Ashe, she is not always there for, you know, the hyper carry DPS, but especially if you're fed and you have a lot of frontliners like HLE, or rather Gen G do, he can get a lot of work done.
Oh, Kanavi's fishing. That might be too far.
Polymorph comes in, and Duro is going to flash away. And Kanavi just says, I will run away, showing some restraint. Very interesting.
We can see Ashe Seraphine been doing very well in the LCK, to no surprise. A lot of teams been kind of set on denying it. Even times where like there was the game with the Mel Pike that got kills in lane, still just wasn't enough. I think obviously just as a duo it wins lane so hard and then scales so well. And it's a decent gank attempt from Kanavi, but I think unfortunately they went aggressive and then kind of started to back off when they sensed something was up, and that's when Kanavi turned up. So they get a flash from Duro, which is nice, but I think they were really looking for a bit more, looking for a kill. Yeah. As this lead in the bot lane just keeps on growing.
Yeah, definitely not game-changing at this point. Canyon also able to get up there and take down 2 grubs, essentially. Oh, nope. Just Kanavi picking up that one. Looking for maybe a play here. We got the arrow on the way. Duro and Canyon positioning pretty aggressively. And Kanavi's going to go in, of course. There's the Rumble and the Vi, and also the Oner over the top of Canyon with the shield up, survives for so long. But the DPS still there. Jovial's going to be taken out by this Rumble. Looking for Keen on top of it all. And Duro, the only one left. And Zeus says, thank you so much for giving me Rumble and all of this awesome gold.
These fights around the grubs, when you have the equalizer available where Rumble just completely shines, but it's the decisiveness of HLE that really puts them at an advantage there. Immediately going on a Canyon and just not letting the Pantheon play the game. So often we see Pantheon survive the initial salvo and have a chance to use that shield, re-navigate, reposition, get stuns out, get the execute damage. He just didn't get to play the game. The arrow comes in, Kanavi looks like he's going to go away, turns onto this Pantheon who gets CC chain and just dies. Doesn't really get to press his buttons. And the turnaround attempt comes in, but they just don't manage to finish off the targets, and Zeus just melts everyone.
He did so much damage to Chovy. If you look at that replay once again. By the way, we had a little bit of a 1v1, and then both supports showed up, so nothing else brewing down here.
You know, we've occasionally had the sort of test, like, do we still need to ban Rumble? I feel like...
Oh, Keen, congratulations.
Congratulations.
The first top ever in the LCK, and he's very far ahead of Doran in second. So the first person to ever get it done. 2,000 kills for Keen.
Wait, Zeus is 1-3-3-3? That's crazy. But yeah, huge
Not for long.
Huge achievement for Keen. Obviously, on the back of a fight that didn't go so swimmingly, but Keen, absolutely an LCK legend. But yeah, I think we've seen teams... We saw a team against Gen G test, do we still need to ban Rumble? I will quickly remind you that yes, they do. And now Gen G have decided to test it as well. And I feel like are learning a similar lesson.
Didn't it just happen yesterday as well with T1 and D plus Kia? That was them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But that was... I think that example was less severe. That was also a weird draft. We don't like to talk about that draft.
That draft was so strange.
Because the Rumble went through the second rotation as well.
Yeah.
And then just kind of popped up like, oh, I still exist. It's like, okay. Like the other times it's been through, it's been like, it's left open, it's first picked. You know, that one was strange.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. I was wondering, like, is there some sleeper, like, counter pick to it that we haven't seen, you know? Like, we had the Galio as the OG kind of pick. I'm like...
Aurora did some good work when Keen was piloting it.
And then, no, they just picked Ambessa into it and lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, which seems to be Gen G's strategy of pick Ambessa. Oh, trying not to lose, but... I mean, they have two dragons in pocket, but it's an Ocean Soul.
Oh, trying to set up here. Duro, still no flash available and in a ton of trouble. Throws out the ult, but just dies. And that's a kill on Taguma on top of everything that happened in the top river. HLE are right back in this game.
I always love looking at the timers on the summoners. Like, Duro's flash is up now.
Yeah, it was
and
like 5 seconds.
They had the timer down to the second, and we're like, guys, we have 10 seconds to kill the support and make it happen. And I guess you can fault Duro for, like, you should have played defensive for those 10 seconds. But this is just HLE having great timings on the summoner spells and being like, let's punish. And in fairness, Duro did overstep there, going for that ward.
Yeah.
But, yeah, nice pickup there. Pretty easy kill.
What are we doing, Zek? He's like, recalling is for every other champion in the game.
That's the Zek. That's
my soul.
That's the Yone tech they don't teach about.
Yeah. That's some pretty cursed tech there. Gen G's still marginally in the lead. They still have this big lead in the 80 carry role, even after that kill. That did go to Gumayusi, but it's a much closer game, especially now that it's Ocean Soul. Zeka in a bit of a whoopsie position here. He's just going to ult his way out.
Yeah, able to get away, but chunked out pretty heavily as Ruler and Duro have moved into the mid lane. Gumayusi and Delight are trying to pressure tops. Should get at least one play here. Hard to do much more.
Guma was attempting to get that second plate. Meanwhile, Ruler's just sitting mid by himself. Looks like maybe he picked up a plate in mid.
It's still a gold lead for Gen G and a dragon lead, kind of as you said, but I'm feeling a little worried. I feel like the tempo vibes are not in their favor.
Yeah. Like anybody, even somebody who doesn't really know about tempo vibes can feel them. in this.
Yeah, even someone who can't properly define tempo vibes.
Yeah. Like Atlas himself. But he can feel it.
Yeah.
He knows.
He can read them.
Yeah.
It's just the intuition. You can sense them. That indescribable feeling.
Yeah, it just feels like, especially like the last team fight, HLE are just so much more decisive. Like, it feels like they know exactly where they want to be. And Gen.G were decisive, but for all the wrong reasons and all the wrong spots, especially in game number 1. So far in this game, like, yeah, they got a really nice lane lead down in bot. They had the good dive. But outside of that, I mean, the team fight kind of looked atrocious. Running straight into the Vi Rumble and Yone.
Yeah. Oh, Kanavi fishing for Chovy here.
The light's here too. We could
It's not the easiest target to dive, but they're going to try it.
They polymorph him. Chovy's going in, but Wild Growth immediately, and he's going to ult and backflip, but that is Yone who sits him down. Chovy with flash, ult, and the shuriken elected to go in on that and regrets his decision.
Yeah, a little bit, I'd say, over-aggressive. Thought maybe like my best response is to try and play aggressive here and force them away from the turret rather than let them set up and dive me. But just ended up burning a lot of resources. I think the problem was the Lulu being there as well, meant you just weren't going to have the damage to kill Zeka, who also, by the way, had a Hex Drinker. So even though it looked kind of close, never was really that close to him going down.
Well, looks like Gen.G at least are going to get this Rift Herald.
The objective control's been good from Gen.G. You know, they start that leading bot, they have the objective control, they've been getting those, other than one grub, resoundingly. But this is one of those scenarios where you feel really bad that it was an Ocean Soul.
Yeah.
I don't think the Ocean Soul is, like, terrible on these champions, but you already get a lot of sustain from the Seraphine anyway, so you can have too much sustain.
Seraphine, the Sun Sky, the Triumph. I mean, there's certainly a lot.
I think Grievous Wound is definitely going to be a buy for HLE in this game. You know, an Oblivion Orb on the Rumble would go a long way. But yeah, I mean, Gen.G likely going to set up this dragon anyway. Even though it's not the most powerful soul, you still want to put priority towards it. There's still a lot of value if the fight goes on long. But it does look like HLE in the area, and you know they're ready to fight.
Yeah. Already, Zeus is backed away. He's going to be on vision on that ward, it looks like, in their own jungle. Just putting down a control ward. Not ready to TP into this one just yet, but you can tell he's ready to do so. Has to respect the Mbessa all-in still in the lane, so kind of being pushed in for now. Kanavi is just itching. He just wants to go in. It's not time yet, Kanavi, but soon.
Yeah, everyone on the side of Gen.G has flashes, all summoners available, to be honest. It's Zeka and Kanavi down their flashes, which is a bit of a disadvantage. Guma not having his cleanse as well does make this fight a little bit more difficult for them. You can see Gen.G playing around Banana Brush. They're going to TP in their Ambessa and drop the Combat Herald. And HLE just go, you know what? We're good.
Wow. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Seen a lot of teams force fights.
I think deciding the setup wasn't ideal for them. Didn't have complete control of the river. They were down summoners. They have a window just to get some gold on the Rumble. And ultimately, I think the main point is it's not that great of a soul.
Yeah.
I think if it was a Hextech soul, they'd definitely fight that.
They'd be in there. Even a Cloud Soul, I feel like can really do a lot of work for this comp here of Gen.G. But yeah, Ocean Smotion is what they're going to say.
Is that what they say?
I think that's what they said, word for word, yeah.
Ocean Smotion.
Yeah.
How does that translate?
I don't even want to try. We got an arrow on the way. Zeus is like, yeah, cool story. He's going to take a little bit of damage here. He might actually look to go all in, but guess who's on the way? It's Zeka. We do have the Panthults there, as the ult cancel from Keen is excellent, but he's all alone now, so able to get away from the Oner ult, but just dies instead.
Oh, Canyon seems to be in trouble too.
Yeah, we got a Vi on the way here, and nowhere for Canyon to run, nowhere for him to hide, as HLE, they just take 2 kills and are looking to get even more on the top side of the map.
Yeah, looking potentially at this tier 2, at least going to get plates on it. I'm going to have to wait for the next wave, but in the meantime, Ruler is just doing Raptors. And Chovy will get this bot tower, but still feels like a huge winning play for HLE. That gold lead now 1,600. They're going to get some plates from that tier 2 as well. The end result is about a 1,500 gold lead with Chovy taking that bot tower, but just a really positive play from the side of HLE. And it just felt like they were ready for it. You know, playing into a Pantheon, you have to expect that whenever anything happens, he has potential to turn up. If someone's extended in the side lane, Pantheon can turn up. And so being available at a moment's notice, really important to prevent that.
Yeah, like look at how quickly on the minimap they rotate.
They have a ward near where Pantheon is on the Raptors, so they kind of had vision. They start to move up. Pantheon comes in, and Keen actually has great ult buffer to dodge the Yone ult, but the light coming in, flashing, ulting Zeus just means there's no chance of a turnaround. The Lulu value there pretty big, and then the rest of the team sweep in and pick up Pantheon as well.
Yeah, and Kanavi was so far behind enemy lines that he's like, oh, I got this flank. Like, I will get this wraparound onto Canyon, and that he did, so turned 1 kill into 2. Baron is going to spawn. Doesn't look like we're going to get any 20-minute starters in this one. Actually, do have to be careful about giving away the free Ocean Soul. The one Drake is fine, but this time you can guarantee they're going to be looking to fight on this Drake.
Yeah, I mean, given up the last one, because you didn't have the right setup, fair enough, but now you have summoners on your big engages on the mid-jungle, and you do expect them to look for it. Oh, fishing for Chovy.
I mean, they saw Kanavi go up there, but Chovy leading the charge with the team.
Playing around this
damage.
Yone's pressure in the side lane and kind of forcing all of Genji up there to respond. There's a lot of good vision from Genji in the bot side river towards the Dragon, but it's HLE dragging them up towards the Baron and forcing them to kind of contest them there.
Yeah, it feels like the calm before the storm. Right before we could see an Ocean Soul taken, maybe even if a big team fight breaks out, maybe they move towards the Baron. But as you mentioned, just really trying to play the side lane pretty well. They got Zeus in bot and Zeka in top. And just looking to pressure as much as possible on the map. Try to suffocate Genji out of it.
Yeah, Kanavi gets a chance to move in and get control of the area. This might be Genji opting not to contest the Dragon, or at least it's going to be late if they try. With HLE already having control of the area. It's so hard for Duro to move in and ward. I'm trying to contest mid prio, struggling a bit here.
Yeah, you can see like this very defensive control ward, just trying to clear out some vision, is not really getting them that step closer towards this Dragon.
I think they were dragged so much top lane by the pressure from Zeka and the movement towards the Baron from HLE, and then HLE reset, get good control of the Dragon area. It does look like Genji want to contest it, but they have to push into the fog of war here. So dangerous into this HLE composition.
Yeah, HLE are going to give them that one, and they look actually for Guma, who's just totally in no man's land, and they immediately take him down. That's a double kill onto the bottom lane, as now Kanavi at least is going to get the one, and now Zeus is going man mode in onto Ruler, has to go golden. As he is quite low himself, Canyon looking for the finish, he's not quite able to get it, as Zeka finds the back line and takes out Ruler, and that is all the damage of Genji now gone, as Zeka on the Yone is just incredible, and HLE win a big fight in the Dragon.
Genji act decisively. They find the enemy AD carry, they blow him up, and they think this should be enough, and yet it isn't. The top side of HLE come in clutch there, able to win out the rest of the fight, and Guma just kind of gets, I mean, he gets jumped on by just about everyone, and even though he obviously cleanses and it reduces to subsequent CC, if you get hit by 13 pieces of follow-up CC, there's not much you can do. But here, Zeus chunking out Ruler, making it so he can't really auto-attack anymore because he's so low. and then Zeka finding the angle to get onto him. This is the difference between having the flash on champions like Yone. We saw them not fight the last dragon when they didn't have those. This time they went for it, and they found the angle.
You can tell there was a little bit of stress there in the booth prior to the actual play, as now Rumble and Vi come together trying to take out Keen. And that is another cue straight into the Ambessa. Zeus is overheated though, so...
Yes, Equalizer's coming up in 1 second, and it's up now, so it wasn't quite available. I think what's really worrying about that is that Guma didn't even end up using his flash in that fight, right? He got jumped on, stunned, CC locked. But the fact that he still has his flash in the aftermath of that, and they won the fight, feels really bad for Gen G.
There's just too many threats on this HLE comp. Like, yeah, you kill the Yunara and you use literally everything you have into her. Like, yeah, you got her, but now you have no CC for these two pesky carries in top and mid.
That's the problem. If you go,
nice flash there from Delight, very close.
Oh, the kid around.
Now they're going to be looking for the re-engage. Kanavi, he is jumping on the bid for that one as they're looking for the backline. They're going to find Duro, but it takes them so long to try to take him out, as finally they do. But it's not exactly clean, as that's going to be the end of Delight as well. Gen G find a decent fight here.
That one not as clean and coordinated from HLE, just a bit of an overstep, too far, and Gen G were tight, like a ball, just everyone together as a unit. And it felt like HLE were kind of disjointed a little bit there. So initially, they try and go for an engage onto Delight, and Delight ends up flashing. But then, I think a big thing is Delight and Guma are so split. So Delight's trying to, provide shielding for Kanavi over the wall, but he gets exploded. Guma goes in, but doesn't have the protection from Delight, who's trying to move forward. And as a result, it just ends up being Gen G all clustered together, see target, kill target one at a time, move through them. It was still pretty close, but considering how much of an advantage HLE had in previous fights, that definitely was not how they wanted to play it out. So I think ultimately you want to lead the charge with your mid-jungle, with your Yone, with your Vi, and then you want your Yunara and Lulu cleaning up afterwards, but together. You want the Lulu buff and the Yunara, and I think that split between them really didn't help. They are just starting the Baron up. It's into an Ashe, so...
Keen, he does not have TP. He's still running over here. I mean, we have the arrow, but this is just a little bit too little too late. Like, look at where Canyon's at. He doesn't have ult. He doesn't have flash.
I mean, that's
just a Baron sneak away.
That was such a good call to go for that when Canyon doesn't have ult available. Like, knowing the timer and being like, hey, he can't get here quickly. Because normally against a Pantheon, he's always getting into the pit. Like, if he has ult up, it's impossible to stop him. You can respond to him well, but the fact they find a window where his ult isn't available ends up paying off massively. And HLE, on the back of a fight that wasn't so great, don't miss a beat, get the Baron, and with that, should be looking to push up and take this mid-tier 1.
Yeah, feeling pretty good for them after that one. And, the gold lead was pretty close throughout this entire game. HLE was slowly getting control of the game, of course. But now with this Baron, you would expect it to be blown pretty wide open. And probably going to be looking to set up some fights as well. You see Kanavi's hiding on bush. They're putting in some pretty aggressive control warding as well to deny as much vision as possible. And just set up potential picks here. Going to push bot lane, it looks like. I think you kind of need your Vi if you really want to set something up. But Kanavi is in the mid lane.
Yeah, diving would be a... Oh, Ashe Arrow, I think, was hoping the team would go aggressive and force them into it.
They're trying to make a play here that Ambessa just totally going to miss. The Wild Growth is there on Aguma as in goes Canyon. They want to take out Delight, and they do. As the Equalizer not getting a huge amount of damage done. Zeus is going to go golden, and now Zeka totally whips everybody. Zeus as well is going to be taken out, and one by one the dominoes of HLE fall. And Gen G pick up a big fight.
Gen G with a big answer back, and HLE just not connecting onto the right targets. It's going to be Ocean Soul for Gen G. Again, not the highest value, but still enough potentially to tip the scales, which are already feeling a bit more Gen G favored in recent fights. We'll see the replay. So, unfortunately, what ends up happening is, even though Keen misses the ult, the aggressive play for Guma forces him away, and they just chain onto the Lulu. Just take the Lulu out, the value's gone. Duro's ultimate got a ton of value, charming up 3 people while this happens. And then Zeka, the flash from Ruler allows him to avoid the ultimate. And I think, you know, it was so late in the fight as well. You really want to be leading the charge, engaging together. This was Gen G starting the fight and getting so much benefit for it. Both these teams have plenty of ways of engaging, of starting the fight, and it feels like whoever meets their conditions better is just winning.
Yeah, it definitely does feel that way. I think the fact that Kanavi kind of got there after the fight was already engaged on his team. You know, it wasn't proactively using the Vi and the Rumble to get a huge amount of damage onto one target that you can control. Definitely meant it got pretty out of hands there for HANWHA Esports very quickly. And I think they got to show some respect to Gen G on some of these plays. See, the TP is coming in here. The arrow also going to hit Zeka into the Mikhail. Zeus right in there, and the equalizer's gigantic this time. They catch Ruler. That double knockup is gigantic here from Zeka. And that is the fight that HANWHA are looking for, as you allow so much space for your Yunara as well to push forward. And they pick up 3 and are looking to get more.
40 seconds, long death time as they're TPing in. They might try and push for the end here. It's only 2 members alive.
I mean, what can you really do? One of them being Duro, and one of them is an Ambessa, who doesn't have public execution, gets slowed by the Slurkle. And, I mean, Keen can't clear the wave by himself. He's going to try as he goes in, insta-polymorph, does a decent amount of damage, and actually does clear the wave, but has to spend his life for it.
I mean, it was a good play from Keen, if we're being honest. The polymorph was pretty perfect from Delight to try and shut him down, but he clears the wave, he saves the game. Exactly what you need to do in that situation. But this fight from HLE, ult comes down to Zeka, the Mikhails gets him away from the follow-up CC, and Ruler flashed the last ultimate Zeka threw at him. Doesn't have it for this one, and it is pixel perfect to catch both him and his jungler. And as soon as those two are down, it feels like it's all HLE momentum. Here though, Keen just does everything he can to try and clear the wave. You see Duro's hitting it initially, and then the polymorph comes in, but it's just still not enough to disrupt Keen completely. He gets just enough damage down to clear out that cannon as well, and it will keep the game going, at least for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I just figured that, you know, if they polymorph him, it should be enough time to just blow him up before he does get out of the polymorph, but
make treads.
Not the case, yeah.
Yeah.
So, he keeps the game alive. But we do have another Baron here in a minute, and Gen G don't currently have much control, if any at all, around this objective. They have one control ward in their own jungle, and they're going to hope that that can be a starting point. But that's where they just lost the last fight. You got to be really careful about fighting Rumble Yone in any kind of choke, especially that one. So, gonna have to go back to the drawing board on how they're going to approach this Baron.
I think as well. I mean, GA now for Ruler is pretty big. But I think him not having flash definitely makes it a lot more difficult for him to team fight. Also, hasn't got any armor pen yet. I don't know, naturally, champions just get a lot of armor as the game goes on, but we are starting to see armor be bought as well. Like, we see Zeka has 135 armor already. We have, like, GA for Kanavi. That item, you know, the Samira coin thing, what's it called? You know, the one that builds in a GA?
Oh,
you know the one I'm talking about.
Is it a medallion?
Something like that. I forget the name. But that component item.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
The red circle is what.
Good amount of armor on the front line of HLE. You know, Zonya's on Zeus, 2 GAs. Oh, Zeus on a big flank.
Yeah, and Kanavi is ready to press his buttons onto anyone. They decide, okay, we can take out Canyon. He is the jungler, and it takes them a while, but they get the job done. Kanavi is there, and the ult comes in on Achobi. Nowhere for him to run. And Keen is the same. They don't even need the objective. HLE just press their buttons on a couple of members, and they don't miss this time.
Felt like such a slow build-up on the fight, but just started hitting the first target they could see, and then eventually snapped onto Chovy, who goes down too. The bot lane of Gen G got to try and defend. Gumayusi to clear out the wave, but there's a super minion coming with the next one.
Oh, harpoon in a Ruler, and he might just be dead. Tons of damage to go into Guma, but they get him into his GA, and the wave is hitting the turrets, and eventually, once he comes back up, that'll be the end of Ruler, and the end of this game, the end of Gen G in this series. Zeka, nobody beats him 19 times in a row in best of threes as he takes down